Hello, Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I am your host, Angela Duncan, speaker, best-selling author, and entrepreneur. Today's episode is sponsored by freemoneytipsbook.com, freemoneytipsbook.com, where you can go download your free book and have 7 unshakable money tips to help you. Today's podcast, I am interviewing Ursula De Paz. She is a certified divorce coach, and she is going to talk about how to transform the divorce saga into the opportunity to redesign your life and create the stability and security that you want. Hello, Ursula. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Hello, Angela.
Yes. So I would love to get started with your story. Talk about your journey and how you kind of got to where you are today.
First of all, I'm a certified divorce coach, but I'm a forensic accountant primarily. I've been doing this for over 18 years. And the reason why is I started going into the divorce coaching is because 20 years ago, I got divorced myself. Okay. And I didn't know what I was doing. For me, it was the easiest thing because it was a simple divorce. You know, we didn't want to make things like nasty between us. We wanted to take it easy. Also, we didn't have that many things. It was 20 years ago when we were both starting. So he's an easy attorney. We didn't want to make it expensive. As I finished my career, my university and graduated, I started business administration and accounting. I started then working on this accounting firm, doing a different type of accounting, right? Doing forensic accounting for family law. Anything related to divorces, child support, alimonies, prenuptial agreements, postnuptial agreements. As I'm learning, I'm getting trained, I'm learning. I'm like, oh my God, everything that I did, my divorce was so simple, and everything that I did, I still did it wrong. I wish I had somebody that I could trust because I was young. An attorney was intimidating to me. The language was difficult. So I'm like, wow. And obviously, fast forward, now a couple of clients told me, especially during the pandemic, they're like, you know what? Now that we don't get to do the in-person meetings, talking to someone like you, it helps us a lot understanding our finances better. And one of them suggested that I should look into becoming a coach. And I'm like, no, there's no way. And the more I thought about it, and I'm like, no, but I love this. I could talk about divorce and finances like forever. Like sometimes I have to put a timer when I'm with my clients because I can talk forever about that topic. So that's why, because I work for a boutique accounting firm. We mainly work on high net worth cases, high net worth clients, and I think that I have so much valuable information that should be accessible not to just the people that have money and that can afford a forensic accountant. Right. I mean, I've had experiences where people ask me, what do you do for a living? And I said, forensic accountant. And they said, oh, you deal with dead people. And I'm like, no, forensic means investigating, analyzing, going deep, digging, I'm also a certified fraud examiner. So that is exactly what we do in forensic. Anything, when the spouse thinks that their spouse is hiding money, hiding assets, diverting, funds. So that's what a forensic accountant do. And I'm surprised that not many people know the meaning. They relate it to something completely different. So number one, what I'm doing is spreading the word of what a forensic accountant means, what a forensic accountant can do for you in your divorce. Obviously, if, not everybody can afford it, but that's why I'm here, to make my knowledge more accessible to and educate the women, especially. That's my clientele working through a divorce process.
Yeah, I
Getting
like
them
that.
started.
Yeah, I like that you went through the explanation of forensic, because unless you've used one before, it's not really, a term that people talk about a lot. And because we watch TV shows, forensic, they think that it's a police or someone passed away, but you're right, it's an investigation. So you're looking into the financials of a couple, so that when they do go through the divorce, everything that should be split and everything that is available for the splitting of the divorce is uncovered. And then that way, they can come to an agreement. So I appreciate you explaining that. That was going to be one of my questions, because it's a complicated process, right? You have to go through a very complicated investigation to be able to extract all of that information, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And if you don't know anything, I mean, divorce is not divorce 101. It's not a course that we take in college or in university. We don't know about divorce until we get to the point, right? So yes, I think that it's important to educate, women and men that are going to go start or they're contemplating the process, so they know what they have to look forward to, or not so much look forward to, but what's coming for them, so they can be prepared and ready. Especially on the one aspect is the emotional, which is very, very important, but also the financial part.
Yeah.
They're both very important aspects, not just the kids and the time sharing and the paternity.
Right. Yeah, because in a relationship, oftentimes there's usually one person, and most times it is the man that handles the finances and the investments. And so they have a very clear picture of what everything looks like. But when you're going through divorce, then, they're not always on positive terms. So it's hard sometimes to figure out all of that information. So let's talk about what you're doing in addition to the forensic accounting. I know that you work for a firm there, but then you found that there was a need to do more. So let's talk about what you do there too.
Okay, as a certified divorce coach, I focus on the early stages, right? If the person is contemplating the idea of divorce, but they're not sure what's going to happen, how is it going to look for them, how their finances are going to be affected by it. So that, and also in all the documentation that they need to gather to be ready. Like you said, sometimes we rely on the other spouse to take care of everything. So there are a lot of women out there that when you say terms, personal financial statement, probably terms that for us that we deal with finances come easy. For some, it's like they've never heard them before, So it's all about educating the client, preparing them, for what a divorce is going to be like. Also kind of working on establishing goals, so they know what they want ahead of time. And at the end, it's all about saving time, saving money, saving their energy, headaches, because they're already prepared, rather than just going blind. And sometimes the mistake is that a lot of clients think that their attorneys play the role of their therapist, play the role of their financial advisor. So when the divorce is over, guess what? You have a very nice, hefty, invoice from your attorney that you could have avoided if you, number one, prepared ahead of time, and number two, it's boundaries too. This attorney is going to represent me legally. I'm going to give him all the tools to do that, and I'm going to have to. That's part of empowering, right? The person, the client. I'm going to learn to deal with my finances, and I'm going to learn to deal with my emotions in order for my process to have a better outcome.
Yeah. And I bet when they hire you or certified divorce coach before they're going through the negotiation, it probably helps it go a little bit smoother, because they already have a clear understanding of the process. And so when you have two people that are perhaps in a better place, right? Not in a good place, because obviously they're divorcing, but you've already prepped that person to go through this process. And so when they're negotiating, I would assume that it probably helps with the negotiation as well, because they are well prepared for that part, because you have prepped them, right?
Correct, correct. I've had clients that have gotten all the way to mediation, which mediation is the one meeting, where the parties are going to negotiate the outcome of their divorce, and the client doesn't know what a mediation is.
Hmm.
So you have to, if you work with a divorce coach at the very beginning of your case, they're going, you know, at least myself as a coach, and remember that I focus on the financial aspect because there are
Hmm.
divorce coaches with different specializations depending on their background. But I prepare them also for that type of stuff. Like when they get nervous because they're like, no, because my husband is hiding. I'm like, I explain to them what a subpoena is, what depositions are. I'm like, don't worry, there are certain procedures that your attorney is definitely gonna contemplate, to try to access all the information that you think your spouse is hiding. So yes, that's important from what we do as certified divorce coaches is to, educate a person and prepare
Yep.
them before that.
Prepare them. And so you've mentioned a couple of times a certified divorce. How did you go through that process, and what does that mean so that people know to look for, perhaps a certification of some sort?
Oh, I love that question. Thank you for asking. Okay, number one, in order to take the course, I took a course that it took 2 years. In order for me to apply into this uh, course, I had to first have a certain amount of years within family law
Hmm.
and have some type of career background, right, in that field. So at that point, I was 15 years in family law. I think I qualified my background, my education, all of that, my certification as a certified fraud examiner. Um, so I took the course, and I'm me personally, I'm all about getting prepared also in order to give um, and get all the certifications I can. I like as many certifications because I've had an example that I have is once I was looking into uh, divorce coaches, and I find that there was a client of mine. I'm not going to say names, but a client of mine, and she was calling herself a divorce coach, and I knew that she'd never went through a training. And some people think that because they went through the experience, yes,
Right.
I am sure that they can empathize with a person,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a difficult time for someone, and you got to be responsible,
Mm-hmm.
for what you're bringing to this person's life during one of the hardest times of their lives. So I believe that getting certified, getting um, educated, continuing education, it's very important.
Yeah, I like that because, if you're going to hire an attorney, you hire someone that's passed the bar. If you're going to hire a doctor, they're certified as a doctor. There's additional training that you have gone through and tests that you've had to take in order to become certified. So that's interesting to know because we live in a world of many, many different coaches. And, anyone
Mhm.
can open a company and say, now I'm a coach. But if they've been through the process, that helps. But now you need to know how to deal with people. And there's a lot of psychology, there's a lot of steps behind it. So understanding that a certified coach is different than someone that's calling themselves a coach. So I like that. So I appreciate that explanation between it. So walk us through a little bit. So when you first meet with a client, what are some things that you want to know, or maybe that they should come in as and expect from you when they're starting that journey?
Well, first of all, every client is different, right? Because every situation, every marriage is different. So first, I have to get a feel for the client, and uh, our work is going to depend on how much involvement they had during their finances,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's number one. And if they didn't, it is my duty to like, don't worry, we are going to figure this out together.
Mm-hmm.
For me, number one is that they understand. I've always liked training, even at work. I'm the one, like, oh, they need to train a new person. Oh, please, let me be the one. I just like it. So I it's all about training, educating the client into falling in love with their finances instead of running away from them. And when I say falling in love, I'm not talking about that you're going to become an investor and you're going to do your stocks and shares. No, because I cannot even do that. No, for that is a financial planner. But ask questions, be curious. You know, that's what I mean with falling in love with your finances. You know, wanting to know more. Especially for women, I think that, you know, it's easier to either delegate on the husband because they don't like dealing with it because it is too difficult, or, you know, unless you're talking about business stuff, very, very complicated stuff. No, I am talking about your personal finances. I'm talking to you about your checking account, about your credit card, about your house, your mortgage, stuff like that. That is going to be vital information during your divorce process, either for if you're looking for alimony, either, you know, we're splitting your marital estate, what is it that you have, what is it that you owe, what is it that you're worth at the end of the day.
So you've been in forensic accounting for a long time. I'm curious, can you share with us maybe just a story where you kind of had to go above and beyond to uncover, and like what did that process look like, and how far deep do you have to dive sometimes to find information, you know, that you think might be out there?
Well, 100 can come to my mind, really. But we can go, like, not too long ago, for example, and this is something also very important that I like to tell our clients. Divorce doesn't mean just like, okay, what I have now, we're going to divide. We also have to remember that if we got married and we brought an asset to the marriage, that we need to either make sure we're keeping it. I mean, everybody decides how they want to deal with their finances, right? But try to keep this like kosher, like clean, and not to mix it, because then at the end, if you want to get divorced, don't expect for that asset not to be marital when you had commingled it. So I had the case recently where the husband was he's not even from here, but they got divorced, and we had to go back to 2009 to trace that 23 properties, real estate properties that he had purchased were with funds from the sale of his dental practice back in 2009, for example. And he got married in 2012, so it was proving that those assets were either non-marital completely, right, or but unfortunately, right, the money got tainted, got commingled along the way, although he thought that he was keeping it separate. You know, we found it and we had to inform our client and break the news to him. Sorry, but no, 100% of those properties are not your before the marriage assets. They have been commingled. So unfortunately, 50% of your marital estate is going to have to be considered marital, and then the other 50 non-marital. He thought from day one that, oh no, we have been doing, you know, there were people that got married late in life. So he said everything, it has been non-marital. You know, I've been divorced before, so I wasn't going to make the same mistake again. But someone along the lines, while digging in through those statements and various documents since 2009, I found that he put marital monies, in that specific bank account that he used to purchase all his real estate.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's a recent one. But yes,
Yeah.
I have many.
Yeah. So when someone is together, because each state is different when it comes to communal property, correct? So if they're together for a certain amount of years or married for a certain amount of years, at what point does it become communal property versus individual? Is there like a time frame that they need to be together in order for that to, come into play?
It depends, right? But yes, it's like it's ever since they got married. But for example, there's states that are equitable distribution, and Florida is one of them. And there are states that are common law. Common law, the minute that you're married, everything is 50-50, right? Equitable distribution, you can do your marital and non-marital. But I had a case where they were married for 4 months, and they're divorcing already for 9 months. And she gets to live in the house, and she gets to get all her expenses paid for because they signed a prenup. So it's all depending how you handle your marriage.
Right. So come to an agreement before the marriage so everyone knows what happens, because we don't want to plan for a divorce, but you still need to kind of plan for a divorce too, right?
Yes. I think that it avoids a lot of problems. I know that sometimes people get insulted by when and this most of the time is the groom presents a prenuptial agreement. But what about see it as a business or as a partnership, not a business, I'm sorry, as a partnership agreement, right? And just to protect each other,
right? Give instructions should something happen, either divorce or someone passes away. Give instructions so that we understand.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Good. Okay, so I have a fun question for you. If you could pick a superpower, what would it be and why?
A time traveler.
So like going forward or backward in time, that kind of time travel?
Yes. More than anything, going backwards.
Yeah.
I first of all, I think that if somebody would have asked me when I was much younger, what is it that you really want to study? What is it that you really want to be when you grow up? I would have said historian. I love history. And I love all those movies about the queens and the kings and all of that. And I'm like, and I just don't watch. I'm doing my research at the same time to make sure the movie didn't make a mistake. So I would have witnessed. I would have loved to witness a lot of those, magical moments and the history of the world.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Okay, Ursula, so you gave us a lot of great information today. If someone wants to reach you, either for the forensic firm that you work for or as a certified coach, how best do they get in contact with you?
The best is to email me or info@ursuladepaz.com.
Okay.
Or look me up on my website, ursuladepaz.com, and there's a link there to contact me, and I'll be more than happy to assist them. And either way, either hat I'm wearing it.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time today, and thank you for coming on the show.
No, thank you so much, Angela, for the invitation. I really appreciate it. I hope we can do this again.
Yes. And that concludes another episode of Empower Her Money. So great information today. And if you need assistance, definitely reach out to Ursula. She can help you with whatever you need and hire a certified coach. So that was a great tip for today. Thanks again, Ursula, and everyone have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Empower Her Money podcast. Make sure you leave me a 5-star review, share this podcast, subscribe, and share the message.